Hey guys, Brandon Barber here. How are you? I want to talk about this concept of immobility, hunkering down. What I see in the world today more than ever is people are hunkering down. They're immobile. They're not moving. They're not taking action. Now, you're like, no wonder, Brandon. I have been told to hunker down because all this stuff's going on in the world around me and I need to isolate myself and I need to hunker down. But let me tell you the impact it's having on our brains. I think brain has been activated in almost a traumatic response based on what's going on in our world around us. And you can liken it to trauma in any kind of trauma that you're experiencing in life. But it's activated this traumatic response that immediately activates our brain into going immobile, hunkering down, not taking action. For whatever's going on, fear of the government, fear of a pandemic, fear of whatever's going on outside of you. Believe it or not, we all have been triggered into some sort of fear response. And it's a traumatic situation that's going on. Our brains refer to it as traumatic. You go, hang on, it's not that traumatic. Like traumatic is when you get bombed in the middle of Afghanistan and you're in the war. Listen, body doesn't recognize the difference between trauma over here or trauma over here. There's no relevance to trauma in the body. Mind, we can create that, but brain has no relevance. It's trauma. So right now, let's say we're experiencing trauma. Now there's three parts of the brain. There's the reptilian part of the brain. That's the instinctual part of the brain. Now, those of you going, what do you mean reptilian? Are you saying we come from apes? Not saying that. Reptilian is just the instinctual survival part of our brain. The mammalian part of our brain, the limbic system, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. And then the human part of our brain, the neocortex, the rational part of our brain. All mammals don't have that neocortex. That's a human function. But what if I told you it's this neocortex, this human function, that's actually getting us into trouble right now? Let me give you an example. So how a human versus how an animal responds to trauma or a situation. A gazelle trapped by a tiger. It's trapped by a tiger, it immediately goes immobile, right? Because, well, first it runs like crazy, but then it goes immobile if the tiger traps the gazelle. So the gazelle's trapped, the tiger has it, it goes immobile, and then the tiger, may go, well, because why would the gazelle go immobile? The gazelle goes immobile because it feels like I might die, and what's the best response right now? If I go immobile, maybe the tiger won't eat me. You've ever heard play dead when a bear attacks you? Because then the animal may not want to eat you because it doesn't feel like it's healthy meat. It might be rotten meat. You might be this dead animal and its brain goes not to eat a dead animal because it's rotten or it's spoiled or something like that. So a gazelle will play dead. Now, if a tiger backs off a little bit, it's the gazelle's opportunity to leap up and flee, right? So it's a survival technique. It's a survival technique in us. We go immobile. When fear is around, we go immobile. Now, what does the gazelle do after that? The gazelle goes and takes off and shakes off the energy and runs it out and kind of does this freak out in their body, but discharges the energy, right? And then goes back to the herd. Now, the gazelle doesn't go back to the herd and go, oh my gosh, you should see this traumatic event that just happened to me. I was almost killed by this tiger. This tiger had me in its grips and I was feeling all this fear and I was like, oh my gosh, will I survive? Will I not survive? And let me tell you about all the drama about it, right? That's not what a gazelle does. Humans have a neocortex that puts some rationalization around it, right? And we have to go down this path and go, oh my gosh, this trauma, this difficult situation, this horrible event, let me make some meaning out of it. And listen, the neocortex gets confused and overwhelmed when all this fear comes to us. When all this fear is brought to us, it can't make sense of it. Tries to make sense of it. Tries to make logical sense. The gazelle doesn't do that. So I think we get more stuck today, more than ever, in this neocortex response, this human response of what does all this mean and trying to make logic sense of it. And what does that create in our brains and where do we go? We stay immobile, right? The gazelle just heads back to the herd and goes on with life. Are we just going back to the herd and going on with life? Or are we in a traumatic situation where we're hunkering down and we're staying immobile? All because our neocortex is trying to figure the situation out. We freeze in the sense of fear. And then what do we do about it? How many of you are in this space? So listen, this is about energy. This is about action. Remember, I said the gazelle takes action. It discharges the energy and then it moves on. Most animals, unless it's continually done over and over and over and over again and abused, will come out of trauma and not even experience trauma. They kind of come out of a situation and they're fine. Our neocortex creates all this stuff where we go down a rabbit hole and a rabbit hole here, a rabbit hole here. And I think it creates problems for us. We spiral. So how do you use action right now? How are you discharging all that pent-up anxiety and anger? How do you, all that pent-up trauma, all that experience? Most people go to social media and lash out at other people. Or most people, I said, how do they deal with the anger? Is they deal in anger form instead of discharge the energy. We got to discharge the energy. We've got to figure out ways to discharge the energy, just like an animal would in the animal kingdom. That's how you handle any trauma. You discharge the energy. But how many of us are still stuck, staying stuck, immobile, not moving, not doing anything about it? We call it the Stockholm Syndrome, right? The Stockholm Syndrome was created or named for all the terrorist attacks that were happening in Stockholm and the terrorists that held captive hostages. And the hostages couldn't move without being told to do this. They couldn't take action or do anything. They were frozen unless they were moved by the actual terrorists. They called that the Stockholm Syndrome. I think most of society is stuck in a Stockholm Syndrome right now. Because what action are we taking? What are we doing to move? What are we doing to move ourselves and discharging this energy? There's a comment that was made by Peter Levine in his book, Waking the Tiger, which is all about trauma and how to deal with trauma. He says, in order to be healthy, our nervous systems and our psyches need to face challenges and succeed in meeting these challenges. Denial is such an obvious place to go with most of us. We're supposed to feel better. We're supposed to feel this way about it. At least we have this going on. At least what's the great side of it? Look at the benefits of it and all this when we're in trauma. So what if action is critical right now? In order to be healthy, our nervous systems and psyches need to face challenges head on. Guys, let us be that support for you right now. If I could say we could do one thing right now, we could free you from a lot of what's going on in the world right now just by you facing the challenges, not just the challenges right now, but the challenges that are in your life, the challenges that maybe you've always wanted to face. Let us take them on head on right here and now so that your psyche can get healthy, your bodies can get healthy, and you don't stay immobile. You mobilize yourself. Excuse me. I mean, right now, think about it. Success, one of my favorite sayings is success is a conscious choice, but right now, your health is a conscious choice. Your psyche is a conscious choice. I'm not saying it has anything to do with taking on action towards the pandemic or towards what the government's doing or anything else. That might be some negative energy. That might be anger and frustration, more of it. And that's not the path to take. What if this is the opportunity to take on you? What if right now in our world, right here and now, this is the chance to take you on, and it's going to free your psyche and truly your health and impact you in a whole other way. Let us assist you. We would love to be the people to do it. Take action. Take you on. Discharge the energy. And there's lots of ways to do it right now. Working with us in some way, shape, or form is only one way. There are a lot of ways, but I'd love to be the guy that helps you to do it. I'd love to earn the right to help you discharge your energy, to get out of the trauma that your body and mind may be experiencing in our world right now. So having said that, guys, I know it's a serious topic. I know it's massive, but what are you doing to take action? One of my favorite quotes in The Greatest Salesman in the World, one of my favorite books written by Og Mandino, he says, action reduces Action reduces the lion of terror to an ant of equanimity. Action makes something so big seem so small, yet so powerful. That's the power of action. Success is a conscious choice, guys. So is action. Choose wisely. Take care.